I was tensed at first. I asked them, can I just relax? And they said, yes, I can relax. I asked for water, I drank water, and then I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I did it in a funny but very professional way, and that helped me also. Anyway, let's get to it. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on when and wherever you're watching from. My name is Chinaza. You're welcome to my channel. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel so that we can grow this channel and help you get any scholarship that you may want to apply for, and also you learn one or two things about food science. I'm a food scientist. You will also learn one or two about how I manage my life as a graduate student and then moving forward until I graduate. Let's see how that goes. So today we'll be talking about the Chevening networking essay. So if you're applying for the Chevening scholarship or you don't even know what the Chevening scholarship is all about, then you have to go through some of the videos in my channel to know what Chevening is all about, and also prepare for your application. So just a highlight: Chevening, it's a scholarship scheme that sponsors students to study a taught master's program in the UK for 1 year, and it's a fully funded scholarship. And they have different essays that you write when you're making your applications for the Chevening scholarship. And this very scholarship is particularly for people who aspire to be leaders, who are already doing something that shows their leadership skills, and who aspire to do something in their country and contribute to the growth and development of their country. So if you know you are qualified for this scholarship, then you should apply for the Chevening scholarship. You should just check some of my videos. I'll put it in the description below, and you will have access to the videos. You watch it, and if that is what you are qualified for, you can check the website of the Chevening scholarship, and then you can apply. Now, without wasting much of our time, let's delve into the networking essay. I call it networking essay because it's the simplest way to put it, but then Chevening calls it the relationship building and shared learning essay. So just a brief disclaimer: everything I'll be saying here is based on my own experience, so I hope you learn from it. I won the Chevening scholarship in 2020 alongside with the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, so I'm talking based on my experience. I applied 2 times for Chevening. I didn't get anywhere in my first application, and in my second application I won the Chevening scholarship. So without wasting time, let's look at this essay, the Chevening relationship building and shared learning essay. This prompt reads as follows: Chevening is looking for individuals with strong professional relationship building skills who will engage in the Chevening community and influence and lead others in their chosen profession. Please explain how you build and maintain relationships in a professional capacity, using clear examples of how you currently do this, and outline how you hope to use these skills in the future. That means after you get Chevening, and also moving forward in the next years to come. Okay, so this essay prompt, as we've read it now, there are things it's expecting you to have in your essay. You heard it very well. So Chevening, it's trying to see if you understand what relationship building is. Do you even understand how to network, and also how networking and shared learning and shared knowledge links together? So how do you build relationships and connect with people professionally? Do you do that through social media, LinkedIn, through events, through going for some kind of networking events and sessions? Maybe you attend conferences and then there is this networking session for that conference. How do you build your relationships? Have you ever met someone through those platforms? Now, this is how they want to know how you build. You attend conferences. So here you start thinking of things you have done, the efforts you have put into building relationships, networks with people, or forging very great relationships with people and establishing that. Because here, it's not just about meeting someone. You can meet anybody, but how do you then sustain that relationship? So that brings us to the next thing we will look at, what they are expecting of you, what I believe Chevening is expecting of you in your essay. So they want you to also show how you have kept and maintained that relationship you build. You meet someone, how do you maintain this relationship? You connect with someone, how do you maintain that relationship? Now, we have come to how do you maintain, how do you build, how do you start, how do you maintain? Now, the next thing we can also look at is, how do you belong to any professional body? Do you attend any events like I mentioned? Do you go for conferences? What do you do? It still brings us to the question, how do you build your relationships? Okay, so then how have you used these skills, or these relationship building skills, or these relationships that you have built to advance your career? How has it advanced your career? How has it benefited your career goals, your whatever project or things that you are doing? Like, how has these very relationships helped you? So now we are not looking at just building relationships. You see how you establish, then how you maintain, and then how these relationships have helped you in your career goal. Because these are the things I want you to know that you will need to write in your essay. Okay, because that's what, like, telling a story out of how you develop relationships, maintain relationships, and also shared learning and all that experience is what Chevening wants you to describe in your essay. So another thing we'll have to look at is, how have you used your networking skills, or how have those networks you have built helped you to create a very good impact in your community, in your place of work? Maybe you are doing something, and you are in any position at your workplace, and you attended some kind of a training, and then that training, and you got to know about this training from someone you met in a conference, or someone you met on LinkedIn, something like that, and that training has benefited you in your place of work, providing some good results and helping you maybe connect better with your employees, or with your fellow employees, or with your manager or your boss, or also helped your like people that you work with. Okay, so these are the things you have to consider. You don't really need something big. Please, if you haven't watched the video on the leadership essay, you should do so, because I explained, like, in-depth and step-by-step explanation on how to write your leadership essay. We are not going to go very deep in networking essay, but I just want to highlight things that you really need to know. Okay, so you don't really need a very big, very mighty networking. You may meet the president of your country, but how did you establish that network? How has that network even helped you in your career goal, or advancing something in your life, something like that, especially professionally? So if you can't explain that, if you can't describe that, if you can't prove that, then the Chevening network, then you are not meeting the requirements of this particular essay we are talking about. Now, so another thing that the Chevening wants to see in your essay is, how can you, being a part of the Chevening network, contribute to the growth and maybe the expansion of what Chevening is already doing in your country, or what the UK is doing in your country. So these are the things you should start thinking about when you come back from your studies. How will you use your networking skills to improve whatever the Chevening alumni in your country is doing? You know, like, how will you network with others to achieve something that's in any sector you see yourself? Let's say you're in the health sector, or agricultural sector, or any kind of sector. How can your experience, your skills also help to promote or expand what the Chevening or what UK is doing in your country? So these are the very important things to bear in mind. And now, going forward to what we are going to talk about here, the essay formats. I mentioned in the previous leadership video, you should have your introduction. I had my introduction when writing my essay. Then the next is the body of the essay with examples. So I had like 3 examples, and I will advise you to have like 2 to 3 examples. If you have 4, that means I don't know whether you will achieve achieve writing something very, very great, but 3 is a very good number of examples you should have. 2 is okay, but 2 for me, I don't think it's sufficient, but 2 it's okay, depending on the quality, so that's fine. And then you have your conclusion. Now, one thing I want to mention is when you are writing your essays, I mentioned it in the previous video, please maintain the STAR method. The STAR method is the situation, when, how, when, where, what was the situation, and then the task. What did you do? What were you supposed to do? How did you network? How did you establish that network in this context of networking essay? So now, action. What did you do? Like, what happened? Like, these are the things you should follow when writing your essay. It may not really align like the way I'm explaining it, but it should show someone what the situation was, when, what did you do? How did you do that? What was the result? What did you achieve from all that experiences and all that network that you built? So why I say you should have different examples for each paragraph is that so you can use one example to explain everything in that particular example, exhaust it, enter another one, explain everything you want to explain, and move to the next example. Now, the last one is the result. I already mentioned that. And now, also, when you are writing your essay, I want you to first of all think about all the examples you are going to write. Don't limit yourself. At the time of drafting your essay, you shouldn't think about word limits. Word limits shouldn't be your worries. Write as much examples as you can remember. Like, if you have 5 examples that you remember, write them. Just have a draft, and then after that you start reading the essay, correcting, using this STAR method to understand which examples are very great for your application. And also try to have one of your examples aligning with your work, like your work experience. You understand? Other examples can align to other things, but let 1 or 2 have relation with what you are planning to study in the UK, or what you are currently doing, or any project that is important, or any kind of network that is important to, let's say, what you are planning to study or what you are currently doing in your place of work, something like that. So also use the very relevant keywords. I will show you an example of an essay that you will see some examples of some keywords that was used in this very essay. Now, another thing when it comes to networking essay, it's, for me, I see it as very important to mention names, especially if that name is very relevant in your essay application. It gives more like credibility. So try to write, or even write the person's position, kind of like you met this person who is this, and who is the president of this network, and then something like that. You can mention them, you can mention the position on where. So this is what the networking essay is all about. Okay, one very thing about your writing your essay is that you should be very specific. If you're not specific, if you just jump from one thing to another, you may not communicate that requirement that Chevening wants, okay? So here we'll be looking at an essay. So this essay was really tweaked. So it still maintains the winning essay, but some names and everything were changed, so it doesn't communicate anything to you. Anyway, so here is an essay. We will read it now. In July 2023, you see, it shows the when. In July 2023, I presented an article at the 40th Regional Agri-Tech Summit held in Abuja, Nigeria. While at the summit, I connected with Dr. AOC Boom, a notable educational management lecturer at the University of Cocoa and an alumnus of Cambridge University. So here you mention Cambridge University, for example, if that is one of your, like, let's say you're applying to the Chevening and this is one of UK universities and you're already making connection with somebody that studied in the UK, you know how it sounds, and that person is from Nigeria. This is the kind of network. This is how to explain like a networking example or relationship building example. So now let's keep going. I said here, mention this only if the school is in the country of interest or somewhat relevant in whatever you are doing. Then this essay went forward to say, we exchanged contacts and I maintained communication through text messages and LinkedIn to date. So I maintained communication through text messages and LinkedIn to date. You see, that shows how you maintain, how you sustain this network. First one shows how you build. You went for a conference, you met this person. And then secondly, you maintain contact till date, till the day of your application. So now the next thing is, through our communication, I realized that one of her supervisees was researching the farmers' knowledge of climate change in Imo State and faced challenges in collecting data from Owerri. Since I was out of a job and resided in Owerri, I volunteered to help share the questionnaires to farmers. You see, you don't have a job, but you had to volunteer. You see, it's not showing that you are lazy. It's showing that you are proactive. It's showing that you are ready to work. Now, your network has moved from this person you met to the student who is facing challenges on sharing survey. And then the next thing was, in 8 days, because of your help, this is the result. In 8 days, we obtained responses from 50 food farmers, something like that, as required. With my statistical knowledge, I guided the supervisee of Dr. AOC, you can mention the person's name if possible, to collect and analyze the data, and taught her how to use SPSS, a statistical tool, for subsequent data analysis. Did you see how it's showing in one example, networking, knowledge sharing? I networked, I also shared some knowledge with this person. You see, like, now I've helped Dr. AOC's supervisee. Okay? Now, after this, it pleased Dr. AOC to recommend me to the Director of Good Food on Train for my current job, of which after an interview, I was offered the job. Now you can see how this example really communicated different things. It communicated my ability to network. It communicated how the medium of networking, that's the LinkedIn, the medium of networking, that's the conference. And then the medium of maintaining the network, that means text messages and LinkedIn. That means I collected the person's phone number when I met the person, and also the LinkedIn. Let's say I didn't collect the phone number, I collected LinkedIn and we communicated there. That was where the person got to know that the supervisee is facing challenges and you volunteered to help. And then from helping, you taught this person how to use SPSS, and then you see the results. So these are the kind of things Chevening wants you to communicate. So, and also here, when you read, based on this essay, you can see the STAR method. It followed that STAR method that I explained previously. So this is very important when you want to write your essay. You remember I told you I gave 3 examples. So there was one example that was very specific to that job, you see, that you later got. Something like that. So that job, wherever you're working, like I said, whatever you are working on and that relates to what you want to study in the UK, please include it in your essay. If there is something, any network that you have gotten before, and let's say it helped you in one of the things you are doing in your current job, project, or whatever you are doing currently in your organization, include that example. So now with all these big examples you are trying to project, you have projected big things, right? But there are also little things you can add to your essay, especially if you don't have space. Now let's look at another example, the least example in my essay. Let's read this. Also, after my undergraduate studies, I maintained the relationship I established with my undergraduate lecturers, Professor Ife Mba and Dr. Gozie Oko, through phone calls and monthly messages. My ability to sustain these networks to date made it easy for them to provide reference letters for my university admissions. That's the admission application I applied for to the UK universities. So that's what I'm explaining, that the relationships I built with, forged with these professors when I was in my undergraduate and after my undergraduate studies, maintaining my relationship with them, it has made it easy for them to submit referee letter for me. So as simple as that also ended me winning the Chevening scholarship. So this is why I'm here to encourage you. Maybe you were working somewhere, you are doing your NYSC, or you were doing your NYSC and you met someone who made you to start thinking about an area. Let's say you are a pharmacist and you were never really into public health, but then you met someone, let's say in anywhere, and this person, because you volunteered in their organization and because of that you had this interest in public health. Now you are already in that area and you are doing so well. This is how you can give an example that you met this person, and this person, because of constant communication and continuous conversations and also volunteering in the organization, you developed interest in public health, and this is why you have done this, done that, and you are interested in this study, something like that. So there is no example that is too small. So just think. You really need to deeply think. Okay. Now remember I said just write all the examples you can based on these things that we've read out. At this point, you have a lot of examples. You don't know which one to choose. Read through which one aligns better with the theme of your essay. Remember, when you are choosing courses, you are choosing similar courses, you are choosing your interests, you know what you want to do, you know the area you want to study. So when maybe you can even give it to anybody and ask the person to read which examples should you choose for the final essay. Then you begin to make your essay sound better, correct it grammatically, and make it look good. So here is the point where you choose the examples you want out of maybe the many examples you've given in your draft. And then reading all through your examples, you can now understand what were you communicating in this essay. And based on what you are communicating in all your examples, you can now write your introduction. So introduction is that easy. For me, in the leadership essay video that I made, I explained why I write introduction after writing all my examples. So I'm not going to go deep into that in this video. All I just want to highlight is that I read through all my examples and then write my introduction. So this is what I want you to also do. Write your examples, know what you are trying to communicate in that example and in all those your examples, and then think about an introduction. What will be a perfect heading or introduction to these examples you've given? So that is how I write my introduction. And here you can hear how my introduction sounded. My proactive attitudes and sound interpersonal skills have helped me greatly in establishing and sustaining networks, which opened up new challenges and opportunities. You can see how this introduction shows that my interpersonal skills, my networking skills has helped me to build relationships that open doors and challenges for me. Because the first example you heard how it took me from a conference, it led me to having a job, somebody that was out of a job. The second example was my workplace example, how I networked with farmers and how I was able to build something that helped them in their communication. it was not helping me. In this case, it helped the farmers. Okay. Now the second example is how I maintained relationship with my professors from my undergraduate studies, and how it has been helpful in my scholarship journey. How they are able to easily write referee letter for me because of that network I kept. Okay. And that's why I always tell people, if you are currently an undergraduate student, or you just graduated, keep in contact. Those networks is not for just yourself benefit, but it benefits everybody. It benefits you. It makes life easier for you. So networking is very important. That's why Chevening, it's putting it as one of the mandatory reasons for giving their scholarship. Because if you can't build networks, how will you go far? Every day we meet people, but it's not everybody we meet that brings very good impact in our. I mean, one or two, they teach you lessons, but there are networks, there are people, there are relationships you shouldn't even joke with, and there are relationships that come your way. You have to take advantage of it. Okay. So, and when you are explaining, you see how you can explain how the relationship you built have helped the other person, has also helped you. So this is how you show how the relationships has helped you build, how has helped you grow or advance or benefit your career and your goals in life. Okay. Now, when it comes to the conclusion for the networking and relationship building essay, when you are looking at the conclusion, you've given all your examples. Now, for you to write your conclusions, remember, we also want to address how you want to use these networking skills to lead people in their chosen profession, especially within your Chevening community. When you get this Chevening scholarship, they also mention that in the essay prompt. So here in the conclusion is where you want to highlight that, to show that this is what I want to do. By the time I become a Chevening scholar and alumna, I will do this. I will network with others to improve. You see, something like this. So here is an example of the conclusion I gave. As a prospective Chevening scholar with a desire to contribute significantly to Chevening development, I will build networks and global linkages through active participation in all Chevening events and my chosen university course activities. So, you see, it's not even just Chevening that I mentioned here. I said I will also mention in my chosen university course activities. So, when I become a Chevening scholar during my study, I will engage with the university activities, because that's also another place to network with people. Upon return, so I was saying something, when I become a Chevening scholar, I'm done with that. Now, upon return, you see, I divided my conclusion into two sentences. One was dedicated for when I am a Chevening scholar. The other one is upon return. Upon return, I will volunteer as an alumni advisor to share relevant knowledge and experience studying in the UK with new scholars, and also engage the Nigeria Chevening Alumni Network to develop initiatives that will address food security and unemployment in Nigeria. Did you see what I said here? Now, this reads like somebody that will come back and do something very impactful, not just with the Chevening community, but also leading them, because they said, who will lead people in their different professions? You see, I showed that here, how I will form initiatives that will help us address food insecurity and unemployment in Nigeria. Remember, whatever you are saying here, let it reflect in your career essay, career goal essay, your career plan essay. You see, so it's not just that you are here making mouth. That's why I said let your whole essay have a theme. What I'm saying here, you will also see in the study in the UK essay, and also in my career plan essay. I mentioned one or two of these things. Okay, so here you can see that the conclusion is just trying to summarize all your examples and also highlight how you being a part of the Chevening community or Chevening alumni or network can contribute to the growth of Chevening Alumni Association and also progress what UK is doing in your country. For me, UK is also doing some things relating to food insecurity. So what I'm proposing is shows from my examples and from this thing I mentioned in my conclusion, it's showing that I am going to do something that will promote and progress the work of Chevening and UK in Nigeria. That is my country. So you can see that is that. And I hope this helps you in writing your Chevening scholarship application essays. And we'll also be looking at other essays, the studying the UK essay and the career plan essay as we go forward. So here, there are things I just mentioned so that you avoid these things in your essay. I will mention it again. I mentioned it in the leadership video. Avoid using we. I did this. This is you networking, okay? Unless there is need for where you have now networked, you now gathered people to do something, you can now say, and we achieved this, okay? So here, in this kind of essay, there is need for a we because it's networking. You are working with people kind of, but show how you started something and then others joined you, something like that. So avoid grammatical errors, use Grammarly to proofread your essay, be consistent with the English you use. Either you're using British English or American English, just be consistent. And then don't submit without reading your essays thoroughly. You can give it to someone to read for you. Also, don't use AI to write your essay. Please avoid that. And don't copy other people's essay. It's very bad. Like now, as I've given this example now, somebody will not go and copy my essay. Like how are you going to prove it? So during the interview, they will still ask you. I remember my interview was so fun, although I was very nervous at first. I asked them, please, can I just breathe? And they allowed me to breathe. Like I remember, but now we're not talking about the Chevening interview. I'm just trying to tell you that they are very considerate people. I was tensed at first. I asked them, can I just relax? And they said, yes, I can relax. I asked for water. I drank water. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like I did it in a funny but very professional way. And that helped me also. Anyway, let's get back to where we were. So don't copy other people's essay and don't use abbreviations without explaining it and it's somewhere in your essay, okay? So thank you very much for listening to this end. I hope this helps you in writing your networking essay. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel. I will be very happy if you do so. If you have watched and this video has benefited you, just subscribe, okay? It doesn't harm. Just click it and that's it. And I will really appreciate, share this video with anybody you know that will benefit from what I've said. And see you in the next video. I wish you good luck in your essays, in your applications, and please spread your tentacles. You are qualified for other scholarships. Apply. There is that scholarship, there is Commonwealth Share, there are other scholarships like Erasmus Mundus scholarship. I made the video on my channel, like one of the videos in my channel, so please check it out. Apply. Good luck, and I pray that you succeed in your applications, and this year you get at least 1 yes from all the applications you've been making. Okay, goodbye and see you in the next video.